Hello.
During the early 16th century, the population dramatically increased. This growth eventually outpaced agricultural production. Food prices rose above wages, diseases ran rampant, and due to this, population began to decline. More people died in the cities than lived. This trend continued for over 100 years. During the 18th century, the population increases. Brown rats began to overtake the Asian black rats, which carried the plague. The swamps were drained, lowered the mosquito population, which in turn lowered the amount of malaria cases.
In the 16th and 17th century England, morals regarding marriage were considered very sacred for common folk. The women didn't have much say in who they married as opposed to the men, and the marriages were usually arranged. The way that the husband ruled over his wife and kids was analogous to the way that the king ruled over his country. The royalty mostly married for land and money.
So, this is my money? I mean, wife?
In the 18th century, the idea of marrying out of love became more prominent. The laws of marriage became more lenient than before.
Yeah, I want you to know something. I think I love you. I think I love you. Yeah. Uh-huh. You's a purty thing, aren't you? Yeah. You's a purty thing. You have to work it up,
In the 16th and 17th century England, women lived in an oppressive patriarchy. When it came to politics or economics, they generally had no legitimate views. With the exception of royalty, women were expected to stay in the household and tend to their kids. They also weren't allowed education in most cases.
Hey, can I please have an education and maybe a say in politics?
Oh, what's that? A woman wants rights? How droll, am I right? Quite so.
The 18th century brought the beginnings of the British Cultural Revolution. As the power of the middle class increased, women were allowed opportunities in commerce and economics.
Little changed regarding the treatment of children in England between the 16th and 17th centuries and the 18th century. Due to disease and lack of medical knowledge, children had as low as 33% chance to live to 5-year-old in some areas. When it came to education, tutor boys would attend nursery school until they were 7, then they moved on to grammar school. In these schools, the discipline was cruel and forceful. Wealth determined which boys went to school, so peasants usually didn't.
The cottage industry in the 16th and 17th century England were a cause for peasants' need for more stable income, and also for merchants looking for cheaper labor. Merchants would go to peasants, giving them a task, materials, and a deadline. They would then be paid according to the quality.
Hey man, I need some shirts. Got you, man. Get to work.
In the 18th century, peasants would instead go to merchants who housed materials and the machinery to do the work.
Very good. Faster!
In the 16th and 17th century England, the Anglican Church was very strict and performed their duties by the book.
Thank you for joining me in service today, thanks to Elizabeth I.
Amen.
Please turn your Bibles to Ezekiel 25:17. That's 2517.
However, in the 18th century, the belief of free thinking started to form, so therefore the church was more lenient with their teachings and practices.
You turn your pages to like God's awesome too.
Bruh, like, where's that at? Is that like after,
It's like literally page 2.
oh, thought it was after like my service.
Jesus.
I can't count.
I can thank Elizabeth I for allowing this service.
You say amen. Oh yeah. Alright, this is fun.
Now, who are the biggest losers in this school?
Oh, well, there's Smiley McGee.
Hello.
Call this a shirt?
Nah, I hear he's a bedwetter.
What about Smiley McGee over there?
Hello.
we gotta watch their video first of all.